I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. It's time to have on one of my favorite guests in terms of from the intel world. He wrote this book a few years ago, and you've given it away. Kevin Shipp from the A Company of Shadows. This is all about the shadow government, all about the people that run things behind the scenes. It's as relevant today as it was when he put it out a few years ago. Excellent book. It's on his site. It's up to date. It tells you exactly in excruciating detail what's going on. Kevin Shipp also has a very high. He has a huge resume. Just so you know. So I can't read all this to you, and this is just his bio. The red's and the important stuff. It's a lot. He had a very high security clearance while he was at the CIA. His security clearance led him to protect the CIA director. So how high of a clearance do you have to stand right next to the CIA director when he's having a meeting in a foreign country? Pretty high. Also, he is an expert in counterintelligence. Kevin Shipp, thanks for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
Hey, Greg, thanks for having me on. It's great to be back with you.
I want to talk about the Clinton Foundation, which I think is a linchpin to everything that's gone on. And Charles Ortel, I had him on a while back, and he so wonderfully put the fraud context on the foundation that he said it was tens of billions. He's on paper, it's $2 billion. He said it could be tens of billions, 100 billion, 200 billion. The fraud is unbelievable. It's absolutely a total fraud. It was originally set up as a presidential library. But you have a different take on the Clinton Foundation, and one of the things I've been harping on, and people have been saying I've been too cruel and I'm too harsh, and Hillary's a traitor. Even on USA Watchdog, I have a password. I mean, I have as elaborate security as the government or something, but you'd think it'd be better than the Secretary of State. I had a password, a deadbolt. She had a screen door with the latch rusted off on her server. Am I wrong? Is Hillary Clinton a traitor? Was having an unprotected server as Secretary of State too stupid to be stupid?
Well, obviously she's not stupid, but she is diabolical, and she knew darn well what she was doing. And that computer was set up to do all of her government business. And I think the Clinton Foundation business, hidden from Congress, hidden from the Department of State, hidden from everyone. Obviously, she's either dumber than the dumbest post in America, or she did it intentionally. And I think we all know what the answer to that one is. She did it intentionally. And it's a global crime syndicate, the Clinton Foundation, and Hillary Clinton essentially is a criminal, and she's violated several Title 18 U.S.C. federal statutes, especially regarding espionage. And I think this is even larger. Charles Ortel is excellent on the financial side. I agree with him 100%. I think this is larger than that, though, in that this is espionage, and this is connections with foreign intelligence and money laundering. So it's very serious.
She intended for people to get access to the content on that server, special access programs, classified, top secret information. That wasn't a mistake. You're saying no. She intended it to happen, so she would, I guess that was the way she would take bribes. She just, oh yeah, my server is unprotected. And that's how she would get the information to foreign powers?
Well, we just found out recently that of the over 30,000 emails, at least 30,000 of her emails went to a foreign entity that was not on any of the distribution lists. So her 30,000 plus emails were going to some foreign receiver who they're trying to figure out who that is now. So she knew darn well that she was doing that, and that would include messages that were classified, U.S. classified information that was going to this foreign entity. So this is, I guess it's my counterintelligence background, but this reeks of espionage to me.
There had to be a lot of people helping her. She couldn't have done this without the CIA, at least some people in the CIA, the FBI, the NSA. There should have been a lot of people knowing this is going on, right? I mean, they can record Greg Hunter's phone call and everything I do. Why wouldn't they be able to do that with her? I mean, there are high powers in the government protecting her, were there not?
Without a question. She has fixers that have been with her for over 20 years. James Comey is one, and of course I've got some detail on that. Loretta Lynch is another, and Robert Mueller is the third. Then she had the director of the CIA, John Brennan, protecting her, James Clapper protecting her, Susan Rice of the National Security Council protecting all these people, protecting an espionage case and essentially a global criminal. And if you go back to Uranium One, one of the things, Greg, if I may, I want to mention about Uranium One that sums up Hillary Clinton's operation. And what she did was this, and I don't know how many people out there have picked up on this. What she did was she formed basically the equivalent of an international super PAC to funnel money through the Uranium One deal. I think it was $140+ million into the Clinton Foundation. She did that because these donations went to secret offshore bank accounts. They are not bound by FOIA laws in the United States because it's foreign money. These foreign donations into the Clinton Foundation through Uranium One are not bound by congressional subpoena. So her secret server and this whole deal with the Clinton Foundation essentially was set up as basically foreign espionage to conceal all this, especially from Congress. I think there were $2 billion that went into her presidential campaign over 4 years through Uranium One. Uranium One was a front company for her to launder money globally, so it wouldn't be under U.S. law.
Oh my gosh, Uranium One was a front company so they could launder money? That was the whole point of Uranium. It wasn't just a one and done, I got $140 million. Right. They kept using the company to launder money, Uranium One?
Yes.
The Russians, the Russians own big parts of Uranium One. They have control of it. The Russians were helping her get elected?
This was, the Russian intelligence had targeted the Clintons for this operation.
Yeah, and just so people know that Campbell, what was his name? Campbell was the deep undercover guy. Was undercover 6 years with the CIA and the FBI. Had all kinds of documents that they had a name for it. Operation, I don't know, Dominance. There was espionage, bribery, money laundering.
Yes.
Kickbacks, racketeering. So and he testified in front of 3 congressional hearings. This is on the record, just so people know. This is not some crazy time. This is on the congressional record. I digress. I'll go back to what you were saying.
Yeah, that's a good point to make, Greg. This is all documented. Every single thing that you and I have just discussed is documented. It's on the congressional record.
Yes.
This is all out there for people to see. The espionage statutes that have been violated are all out there for everyone to see. This, for anybody that wants to look into this, this is clear. And the most bizarre thing about it, amongst many, is that Robert Mueller was in charge and running a counterintelligence investigation against Russia during the Uranium One deal. He knew that the Russians were engaged in extortion, bribery, racketeering, as you mentioned, related to Uranium One. He approved the Uranium One deal, knowing that these millions of dollars were going into the Clinton Foundation, and he ignored the fact that the Russians had targeted and essentially co-opted Hillary Clinton and were funneling money into her campaign, and of course $500,000 for Bill Clinton to go over there and speak. And Robert Mueller, in charge of FBI counterintelligence and that investigation, ignored the whole thing, brought no charges, and just basically put it under the blankets and covered it up.
And he allowed it to continue. Now we find out, well, you're telling us the new piece of nugget here, it wasn't a one and done, she got $140 million ho-hum. They were using that as a vehicle to launder money for Hillary Clinton. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that Hillary Clinton used this to launder money in foreign banks, so it wasn't subject to U.S. laws, congressional subpoenas, or FOIA demands for the evidence. This was done to launder this money globally into the Clinton Foundation, so the U.S. government could not examine it at all.
And Robert Mueller knew this was going on, so he's a traitor too, correct?
He's either, for lack of a better term, a complete moron, which obviously he is not, or he overlooked one of the biggest counterintelligence espionage cases in U.S. history involving Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, Uranium One, and then, of course, her destruction of all the evidence and emails, the secret server, and on and on and on it goes, and he ignored it all.
Is there something bigger going on here with all the people you named? I mean, we're talking attorney generals, top security people, head of the CIA, Brennan, head of the FBI, Mueller, Comey, head of the FBI. were they trying to take down America from the inside, in your estimation?
Well, I have a lecture out. Yes, this was a case of subversion with the election of Barack Obama, the connections to the Muslim Brotherhood, the donations and connections from George Soros to destroy U.S. sovereignty. Yes, this was a subversive effort to undermine the Constitution and in some aspects the Bill of Rights, changed the Bill of Rights. That was the goal. That was the effort. This was empowered, especially financially, from entities outside of the United States. And the most bizarre thing are the people that protected this, and the people that protected Hillary Clinton from clear felonious activity in violation of the espionage laws. You had James Clapper, the director of national intelligence, protecting her, leaking things to the media, lying. You had John Brennan, the director of the CIA, protecting her, starting a false investigation and stirring that up with this dossier. You had James Comey, director of the FBI, protecting her. He goes all the way back to Whitewater. He's been a Clinton fixer for a couple of decades. Then you got Peter Strzok protecting her. And then now it appears that even the United Kingdom GCHQ was using NSA information also to target Donald Trump and protect Hillary Clinton. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of power or connections does this woman have to get all these members of the deep state shadow government to basically risk their own criminal penalties to protect her and try to get her elected? That is the shadow government. That is the deep state. That is what is so chilling about this whole thing, is the people that were connected in protecting Hillary Clinton and trying to get her elected.
I have long said, I brought this up on my weekly news wrap-up more than once, how did Hillary Clinton get Comey, Lynch, Clapper, Brennan, Jarrett, Powers, Obama? How did she get all these people to commit felonies for her?
Exactly.
That's my question. Are they corrupt? Are they bought off? Are they communist? Are they trying? Because the Democratic Party is flat out Marxist communist. That's what it really is.
It's
I mean, look at the people that run it. Look at the people that run it. Go no further than that. With Perez and Ellison. But how did she get all these? I mean, you're talking the foreign spy agencies were trying to destroy Donald Trump. Yeah. How did they do it? What's the motivation?
Man, that's the big question, Greg, is what in the world, what kind of power does this woman and her criminal husband, what kind of power do they have that would motivate these high officials in our government to cover up actual criminal violations, cover up fraud and all of this and protect her? What kind of power now? This goes outside of our government. It goes to billions of foreign dollars. I'll give you one small example. James Comey, connected to Hillary, he's been her fixer going all the way back to Whitewater. He was part of the Whitewater investigation. But his connections with Hillary Clinton, she greased the skids and got him a position with Lockheed Martin, a major contributor to the Clinton Foundation, where he made $6 million in 1 year. There's just one example of how the Clinton and Clinton Foundations manipulated some of these people, and they, of course, put some of them in these positions knowing they would protect them. So this is deep. This is dark. This is as dark as it gets. In my opinion, it's the biggest espionage case involving government officials in the history of this country.
A lot of people will come on all the time. Nobody's going to go to jail. It's going to be business as usual. Nobody's going to kill. I don't believe that's true. And I'll tell you why. Because they've threatened Donald Trump's family, and he can't let that ride.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you've threatened harm, death, destruction, bankruptcy, jail to his entire family. And he controls the Pentagon, and he's got Blackwater Academy protecting him, and he's got a lot of patriots inside the CIA, other people, that are like, hey, no, you didn't. I mean, are people going to get off scot-free this time?
Greg, for the first time that I've seen, and at least in my 20-year government career, for the first time, it is possible that these people could be indicted and charged. And the only reason for that is Donald Trump comes in completely from the outside. He can't be bribed. He can't be paid off. His maverick-like personality prevents them from being manipulated by these people. And things are shaken up in Washington. So now it is real possible that some of these people are going to be indicted. And of course, we as the American public need to demand that constantly from our congressmen, senators, and the White House, that these people need to be charged under Title 18 federal code. But I think you're right. I think it's real possible, if not probable, that some of these people are going to be charged.
I want to talk about just briefly, because it's just more of the fraud. I guess is the Iran no signature deal, and that's provable. I mean, the Kerry State Department, Lisa Freifel, the deputy legislative director, I think, wrote. Lisa Freifel's her name. She's deputy at the State Department, under the Kerry State Department. Wrote Pompeo a letter saying it wasn't signed. It's not signed. My sources have checked this. It is not signed. It's totally unsigned. Nobody, the U.S., Iran, Great Britain, France, Germany, nobody signed it, but everybody got a bribe.
Yep.
Is that part of the Clinton Foundation too, or is that just a big giant global fraud?
The Clinton Foundation is a giant global fraud, and yes, this is connected to that with global fraud. We know that Barack Obama literally laundered money in foreign currency to send it to Iran because he was violating U.S. law with that kind of huge amount of money tied into this whole global cabal we're talking about. And once again, people go out and they can check this out for themselves, go out and dig up the information. It's all verifiable. But yes, it was a big, basically global money scheme to give money to the Iranian government using conversions to foreign currency and circumvent Congress.
I know it's a scam because they won't say anything to him in public. I mean, he just unloaded on Germany and said, hey, you're cutting a deal with Russia. You're giving them billions of dollars, and you're wanting us to protect you from them.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, that's just like, and I think they're afraid to bring it up in public because they don't know what he's going to say. He may just blat out there, you all took bribes to get this deal gone through. That's what the Iranians say. That's what a top advisor in Iran said, that they bribed Western leaders and tweeted it out on the record.
Yes.
I think it happened. I mean, the Iranians are admitting it.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Because the mainstream press, zip, hear no evil. That's the fake news, the real fake news, the mainstream media. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, that's another part of this whole thing, Greg. Why on earth would the major news networks like CNN and others, and I'm not pounding on them, but I'm asking the important question because they put out, I've been watching them ever since I traveled overseas for a couple of decades, and they're putting out information that is false. They're not reporting information that's very important, and they're twisting other information. And once again, they did it to protect one person. Guess who? Hillary Rodham Clinton and their presidential election. These major news medias did that and protected a global fraud, a clear felon, and they're tied into this multi-billion-dollar fraud that we're talking about. The media and these executives are plugged right into that. It's mind-blowing. So essentially, they participated in the cover-up of criminal activity at the highest levels. No question about it.
With Hillary Clinton and this global fraud, I mean, she's talking about running for president again. Is that serious? Do you think that's serious?
But with her personality type, at the very least, in my humble view, she's a sociopath, maybe worse. With her personality type, that personality type would do it. As crazy as it is, as unrealistic as it is, yes, she will. If she has a sliver of a chance, she'll do it.
But you think she could go down? You think that she could be Donald Trump's Jezebel, that he could trample her and throw her, throw her pieces to the dogs, right? I mean, these people are awful. I mean, look at Strzok. I mean, here he was grinning, and they put together a tape of him grinning and laughing and looking, like some, creepy thing. But I mean, these people feel pretty. They feel like they're untouchable, right?
Yeah. Oh, he was a scary-looking dude. You talk about the face of the deep state mocking Congress in a hearing. That shows you how far gone people like that. They really think that they're smarter than everyone else. That's sociopathy. Sometimes even worse than that. It's psychopaths. But these people, literally, they're narcissists. I know because I work with some of them at the higher levels of the government. They are narcissists. They are full of themselves. They think they're smarter than everybody else. They're above the law. They stamp on people below them, and then they protect on everybody at their level and from their level up. And that's what's been going on. to the point where they've actually committed felonies. And I'm talking about James Comey has committed felonies. Loretta Lynch has committed felonies. Hillary has committed so many violations of Title 18 Federal Code that it's almost laughable. If she's not charged, it's the biggest crisis of justice in our constitutional government in the history of the United States.
I wanted to get into this because it was in the Inspector General's report on page, I think it's 192 and 194. I think it's 194. They had a meeting, Comey, with a senior FBI official and a deputy director. And his people brought to him with the Anthony Weiner laptop. They had a search warrant to find, sex crimes. And in their notes that it's reflected in Comey's calendar from this deputy FBI director was some in his line, something to the effect of Hillary Clinton and Foundation crimes against children. And, that's in the report in the mainstream media, back to your thing. That's not something that I guarantee if it said Donald Trump and Trump Foundation and crimes against children, the New York Times, the Washington Post, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, they'd be all over that. But that was a Foundation, Hillary Clinton, crimes against children. That was a meeting note. They discussed supposedly, of course, neither one can remember a thing. Is there a darker thing here in the background that we're not seeing?
Yes, yes, there is. When you're dealing with this type of criminal psyche, yes, there is. And I don't know if many people know this, but there were 700,000 emails that Anthony Weiner stored on his laptop as his quote-unquote insurance policy. Every single one of Hillary Clinton's emails that she destroyed was on that server. The FBI found it. James Comey found it. It was given to him. He sat on it, didn't pursue it. They had, Greg, all the emails from Weiner's laptop. So much so that the good FBI agent in New York saw this going on and went to FBI headquarters and complained and said, well, why aren't you here? Here they are. Here's the one she destroyed. Why aren't you doing anything about this? And Comey denied to take the investigation any further. That is obstruction of justice.
And they still have that laptop. They did not destroy that laptop. No, if I was an FBI agent and somebody was telling me to destroy that laptop, you want to destroy it? You do it. Yeah. So they still have the laptop, right?
Yes, and all 700,000 emails.
Is that the holy grail? Is that the thing that could break this thing wide open?
Yes, yes. And
Explain.
The NYPD was going to come out. The NYPD, who of course had this evidence, was going to come out and bring it in a press conference to the public, and they were ordered to stop by, guess who? Clinton fixer Loretta Lynch, who goes all the way back to the Clinton Foundation investigation. She tabled that too, but Loretta Lynch ordered the NYPD, as basically superior to them from the federal level, not to hold the press conference, not to investigate it any further, but it was now the FBI's matter, and they were to cease and desist. And I can guarantee you there are a lot of detectives in the NYPD, if you excuse my French, are pretty pissed off about that. And so this thing is just bubbling like a cauldron under the surface. And when it blows, it's going to be pretty nasty.
You think it's going to blow?
It depends on the courage of the people involved. I remember back in 2020.
Well, hold on, stop. I'll back up. I'm going to back you up here.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about courage of people involved, and this is a great way to get in there. And using your sources, I mean, you have high security clearance, all kinds of people in law enforcement and intel world. I heard on that laptop nasty crimes against children on that laptop, video crimes against children on that laptop. Can you confirm that?
That was alluded to by the NYPD. I think it was one of the senior NYPD supervisors said there were things on there so disgusting he wouldn't even let his children.
So that's real.
It's real, but we got to remember that's just the tip. We don't know how deep that goes. That's one little sliver of evidence that has been covered up. So we just have that one sliver that there's something on there that's shocking to the conscience and disgusting. And the NYPD was going to bring it out, and the FBI shut them down. So we don't know how deep that is, the extent of what that is, but it's obviously significant.
And you're saying that, I think the Trump administration is showing courage. I mean, there's supposedly 40,000 indictments, sealed indictments, and growing, supposedly.
Yes, I understand the same thing. Yes.
And that's,
Yeah.
you can confirm that that's a real deal. That's not just a. I don't like to quote Q, not because I like Q. I like QAnon. I think I hope it's correct, but I try to source it with some other sources. And you're saying that you think that that's true also, that the indictments are stacking up.
Well, the Anons are a wonderful group of people.
Yeah. No. I'm not dogging them out at all, and I know you're not either.
I know you're saying good things about them, and I agree with that. I'm on the fence with Q, but that's just my suspicious nature coming from my background.
But you think the indictments are real?
I don't know, Greg. I cannot confirm that. I've read a lot of things out there about that.
Okay.
I've even seen copies of some of the indictments, but I haven't seen enough.
Some of them are real. Some of the indictments are real.
Some of them are out there on the net that some people have put out there. Yes.
Okay, all right. You also are giving talk. What do you think the next big thing's going to break before I finish up here? What's the next big thing's going to break? What would you say the next big thing to look out for coming down the pipe? What's going to break? Is it going to be the laptop? Is it going to be somebody going to be indicted? What's going to happen?
Well, the laptop certainly is going to be a part of it. What's going to happen, which is going to be shocking, I think, and I'm pretty convinced. I did some briefings and made some slides. I understand Congress has this information, but the number of Title 18 violations, felonies committed by some of these people: Hillary Clinton, mishandling classified information, Title 18; lying under oath, Title 18, 2 statutes; destroying subpoenaed emails, erasing hard drives, federal violation of federal law, punishable by prison; obstruction of the criminal investigation; and last but not least, espionage. And then, just in summary, then you have James Comey, obstruction of justice in the Clinton email investigation, a violation of Title 18. He leaked classified information, which now we know was classified. That's a violation of 3 Title 18 statutes. He lied under oath. That's a violation of 2 Title 18 statutes. And he obstructed justice in the Hillary Clinton email investigation. And I could go on and on and on. So I think what is going to happen ultimately, these people are going to be charged. There's a new sheriff in town. He's a maverick. No one can control him. And it's very possible that some of these people will be indicted on violations, some of the violations of Title 18 I just talked about. So, yes, I think there's indictments that are coming. There are charges that are coming. It's going to be bloody and dirty because these deep staters are going to fight back. They're going to destroy reputations. They may even go farther than that. It's going to be a war of mammoth proportions between the new administration and these people who have committed these felonies that are still part of the deep state.
Kevin Shipp, you never disappoint. Just so people know, I get nothing for this, folks. Too, I don't get paid for this. I just think all I try to do is put good stuff on. And if you want to really snuggle up to find out what the heck's been going on and get some real aha moments, I didn't know they were doing that. This book is totally relevant. Put it out a few years ago from the Company of Shadows. It's on fortheloveofnet.net. fortheloveoffreedom.net, I should say. That's your website, fortheloveoffreedom.net, correct, Kevin?
Correct. Yes.
And then you also do speaking and public appearances, and people can get you through fortheloveoffreedom.net, all one word.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and so I'll put the links up to your website. The book is on the homepage. I'm just going to put up the homepage. fortheloveoffreedom.net is the website. Kevin Shipp, the CIA whistleblower, is the man. And I really appreciate having you on, Kevin Shipp.
Greg, always you're at the top of my list. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Very enlightening. You think the indictments cometh?
Yep.
Good. Okay, thanks a lot for being on.
Thank you, Greg.